Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we're going to do something a little bit different. Think of this as a guided practice, a way to sharpen one of our most important skills, how to be truly present in a conversation. And our guide for this is a really powerful little story about a man named Dhruv and a visit he pays to his grandmother. Okay, let's get into it. Let's just start right here. Before we go any further, take a second and really think about this. I'm not talking about someone you're fighting with, just someone you care about. A friend, a parent, a partner, where you've been in the room, sure, but your mind has been a million miles away. Got someone? Okay, good. Keep that person in your mind as we go. All right, so let's set the scene. It's a scene that's probably going to feel pretty familiar to a lot of us. Dhruv goes to see his grandmother every few weeks. It's a routine, it's comfortable, she talks, he listens. Well, he kinda listens. He's giving her about 60% of his brain power, and the other 40%? That's secretly reserved for the phone in his hand. Let's call this the 60% conversation. Now look at this, because this shows a pretty wild disconnect, right? On his side, you've got this partial focus. He's getting the general idea of a story he's pretty sure he's heard a dozen times before. It's just habitual. But on her side, she's completely there, 100% present, sharing a piece of her life. And she has no idea she's only getting part of him. Man, how many of our own conversations look exactly like this? And here it is. This is the moment. You can just picture it, right? His thumb is hovering over the screen, ready for that muscle memory swipe to check whatever. A notification, an email, it doesn't matter. It's a reflex. But right here, in this split second, he makes a different choice. A tiny little pivot that's about to change the entire afternoon. Look, this isn't some huge, dramatic, life-altering decision. It's small, it's quiet, but it is everything. It's the conscious choice to switch gears, to move from that state of, continuous partial attention to just being there. And this, right here, is where our practice really begins. That's it. That's the whole move. He just turns the phone over. This one simple physical act does so much. It creates a boundary. It's a signal to himself saying, hey, for right now, my attention belongs here, in this room, with this person. It's incredible how much power there is in one tiny gesture. So what happens next? What happens when that mental real estate, the part that was reserved for the phone, suddenly opens up? Well, Dhruv does something he hasn't really done in a long, long time. He doesn't just glance at his grandmother, he actually looks at her. And when he does, this whole world of detail just floods in. And just like that, he starts seeing things that were there the whole time but were totally invisible to his distracted brain. The exact shade of her white hair, the familiar green of her sari, and more than anything, her hands. He realizes they aren't just resting in her lap, they're performing the story, they're shaping the characters and objects right there in the air between them. And this is the heart of the discovery. It's this flash of emotion. These hands he's seen his entire life, suddenly seem extraordinary. And why? It's not because they changed. It's because, for the first time in maybe years, he's giving them his full, undivided attention. And as he keeps looking, he sees the history etched right into them. These aren't just hands. They're a story of a life lived. He sees the little lines from years of work and care. He sees a gold ring that's been on that same finger for 51 years. A tiny, specific dark mark near her knuckle that's probably been there forever. These are the details that build real connection. Okay, let's bring this practice back to you for a second. Right now, just look at your own hands. Seriously, see the map on them, the story. Now, think about that person you brought to mind at the beginning. Can you actually picture their hands in detail? When was the last time you truly, really saw them? So, Dhruv's little shift in attention does way more than just let him see new things. It completely changes the whole vibe of the conversation. It stops being a monologue that he's just kind of passively downloading, and it turns into a real, active dialogue. Because he's actually listening now, he hears the nuance in the story he thought he knew by heart. The neighbor he always remembered as the bad guy, turns out it's more complicated, more human. His grandmother is telling the story with this fairness he'd just never noticed before. Full attention brings empathy. It brings a deeper kind of understanding. This is so important because he's locked in, a genuine question pops into his head, a question that comes from real curiosity, not from just trying to show he's paying attention. And his grandmother is delighted, maybe a little surprised, and she tells him more. The connection gets deeper. So what was the result of all this? Two hours. They talked for 2 straight hours, and he didn't check his phone a single time. Not because he made some strict rule for himself, but because he was just there. He was in it. It was the totally natural outcome of being truly present. So let's boil down what Dhruv did into a practice that any of us can use. It's 4 simple steps. 1. Put the distraction away, physically. Phone face down is a great start. 2. Look, actually see the person in front of you, maybe like it's the first time. 3. Listen. Listen to what they're really saying, not what you think they're going to say. And 4. Engage. Let your curiosity ask a real question. Now we get to the drive home. You know that feeling when an experience really settles in? Dhruv's not just thinking about what happened, he's feeling it. He sits in his car for a minute, just letting the weight and the warmth of that afternoon really sink in. And this is the whole thing right here. It's one thing to know intellectually that people are precious and moments are fleeting. We don't know that. But it is a completely different thing to feel it deep in your bones. That simple act of being present let him cross the bridge from just knowing something to truly feeling it. So we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you. Think back to that person you pictured at the beginning. The next time you're with them, what could happen? What details might you finally see? What little nuances might you hear in a story you thought you knew? What connection might you feel? If you just make that one tiny choice to put the phone down,